Assalamualaikum and hi to lecturer and fellow friend. My name is Khairunisa binti Ahmad Kamudin, number ID I18102852. I will be talking about Chapter 4, Ethical and Social Issues in Information System, Subtopic 4.2, what specific principles for conduct can be used to guide ethical decisions. In this subtopic, we have basic concept, ethical analysis, candidate ethical principles, professional codes of conduct, and some real-world ethical dilemmas. So let's take a look one by one in the subtopic. First, we will take a look on basic concept. In basic concept, we have three main points, which is responsibility, accountability, and liability. Let me tell you, ethical choices are decisions made by individuals who are responsible for the consequences of their actions. And responsibility is a key element of ethical action, which means that you accept the potential costs, duties, and obligations for the decisions you make. For example, if you are a boss in an organization, you need to take responsibility on anything that you have been decided. Second, accountability. Accountability is a feature of systems and social institutions. It means that mechanisms are in place to determine who took action and who is responsible. Systems and institutions in which it is impossible to find out who took that action inherently incapable of ethical analysis or ethical action. Moreover, liability extends the concept of responsibility further to the area of laws. Which feature of political system in which a body of laws is in a place that permits individuals to recover the damage done to them by the others. In conclusion, these fundamental ideas structure the supporting of a moral examination of data frameworks and the individuals who oversee them. To start with, data advancement are sifted through social foundation, association, and people. Frameworks don't have impacts without anyone else. Whatever data framework impacts exist are results of institutional, authoritative, and singular activities and practices. Second, obligation regarding the results of innovation falls plainly on the establishments, association, and individual chiefs who decide to utilize the innovation. Utilizing data innovation in a socially dependable way implies that you can and will be considered responsible for the outcomes of your activities. Third, in a moral, political society, people and others can recuperate harms done to them through a lot of laws described by fair treatment. Next, let's take a look on ethical analysis. There are 5 steps in it. First, identify and describe the facts clearly. It is about we need to find out who did what to whom and where, when and how. In many instances, you will be surprised at the errors in the initially reported fact, and often you will find that simply getting the facts straight helps define the solution. Second, define the conflict or dilemma and identify the higher order values involved. Ethical, social, and political issues always reference higher values. The parties to a dispute all claim to be pursuing highest values. For example, freedom, privacy, protection of property, and the free enterprise system. Third, identify the stakeholders. Every ethical, social, and political issue has stakeholders, players in the game who have an interest in the outcome, who have invested in the situation, and usually who have vocal opinions. Number 4, identify the options that you can reasonably take. You may find that none of the options satisfy all the interests involved, but that some options do a better job than others. And sometimes arriving at a good or ethical solution may not always be a balancing of consequences to stakeholders. Last but not least, identify the potential consequences of your options. Some options may be ethically correct but distrust from the other points of view. Other points may work in one instance but not in similar instances. Always ask yourself, what if I choose the option consistently over time? And also ask, what will happen to me if I choose this? Then, let's take a look on candidate ethical principles. Candidate ethical principle is a rules that we need to follow when we as a person make a decision. First, it's called golden rule, fairness in decision making, which we need to be fair to everyone and to the organization. Second, this action called Immanuel Kant's categorical imperative, thinking about the action, which we need to think about the action that we just make. And we need to ask ourselves that if everyone did this, could the organization or society survive? Ask yourself. Then, take a look on slippery slope rule. Action may cause change. An action may bring about a small change now that is acceptable, but if it is repeated, it would bring unacceptable changes in the long run. That means we need to be careful in every decision that we have been made without repeat the same mistakes. Utilitarian principle, action that achieves the higher or greater value. This principle assumes that you can prioritize values in a rank order and understand the consequences of various causes of action. Fifth, risk aversion principle, action that produce the least harm or the least potential costs. Some actions have extremely high value costs of every low probability. Example, building a nuclear generating facility in an urban area, or extremely high value costs of moderate probability, speeding an automobile accident. And to avoid actions which have extremely high value costs, we need to focus on reducing the probability of accident occurring. Last but not least, ethical no free lunch rule, which is tangible and intangible objects are owned by someone else. This ethical means that if something someone else has created that is useful to you and also has value on that, and you should assume the creator wants compensation for his or her work. Actions that do not easily pass this rule deserve close attention and a great deal of caution. The appearance of unethical behavior may do as much harm to you and your company as actual unethical behavior. In easy words, we need to do our job carefully. On the next page, it is about professional codes of conduct. Professional codes of conduct are groups of people claim to be professionals. They take on special rights and obligations because of their special claims to knowledge, wisdom, and respect. Professional codes of conduct are promulgated by associations of professionals such as American Medical Associations (AMA), the American Bar Associations (ABA), the Association of Information Technology Professionals (AITP), and the Associations for Computing Machinery (ACM). They take responsibility for the partial regulation of their professions by determining entrance qualification and competence. They also regulate themselves in the general interest of society. To avoid harm to others, honoring property rights, including intellectual property, respecting privacy are among the general moral imperatives of the AGM's Codes of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Next, let's take a look on some real-world ethical dilemmas. The definition of ethical dilemmas is a problem in the decision-making process between two possible options, neither of which is absolutely acceptable from an ethical perspective. Although we face many ethical and moral problems in our lives, most of them come with relatively straightforward solutions. On the other hand, ethical dilemmas are extremely complicated challenges that cannot be easily solved. Therefore, the ability to find the optimal solution in such situations is critical to everyone. Every person may encounter an ethical dilemma in almost every aspect in their life, including personal, social, and professional. In this subtopic, we talk about information systems have created new ethical dilemmas in which of one set of interested is pitted against another. For example, many companies use voice recognition software to reduce the size of their customer support staff by enabling computers to recognize a customer's response to a series of computerized questions. Many companies monitor what their employees are doing on the internet to prevent them from wasting company resources of non-business activities. And the reason for doing that is you can find competing values at work with groups lined up on either side of a debate. Thank you for spending your time, and this slide presentation prepared for Sir Hussaini bin Ibrahim.